Summertime rendering. So I finally watched this freaking anime after so long. After hearing about this damn anime so much, how it's, oh my god, you need to watch this, dude. Here are my freaking thoughts and opinions. It's a little bit organized, quote unquote organized, but just remember that these are my opinions, my thoughts. You can think differently. This is purely subjective. So, okay, let's dive right into it. So let's start off with just a little spoiler-free territory. Talk about like the entire anime as a whole and how it just handled everything with, you know, the premise that it has, like with the time travel thing, like the MC dies and he goes back in time, cough cough, very similar to something like right here, cough cough. Yeah, despite having that kind of premise, it's actually very unique. I'm not gonna get right into it, like super deeply into it, right, because it's spoilers, but does certain things very differently from those other kinds of anime that do it with that kind of premise. So that alone makes it worth watching, because it's so easy to be like, oh, it's another freaking time travel, the MC dies and he, oh my god, what? But no, it's actually pretty freaking good. It's unique at what it does. What else can I say that's not spoiler? The characters are pretty good. The MC is really cool. At first, the MC had to like sit down with me, but as the episodes went on, like I'm gonna talk about this in just a bit, but this is spoiler territory. And yeah, if you haven't watched this anime for some reason, I really just watch it. It's definitely anime of the year contender. Is it anime of the year? I don't know yet. I need to sit down and look at what's come out this year and be like, And oh, the animation as well. It's pretty, like, there are some moments that are freaking ridiculous. You're probably seeing it right now. This made me laugh. I was dying, bro. I don't know. I saw that and I was like, what is going on? What is going on right now? There's not much that I can say that's not spoilers. Like everything that I want to talk about is spoilers. So if you haven't watched Summertime Rendering yet, I highly suggest you to watch it because it's a pretty good show. And if you like things like rezero, steins, just give it a watch, because it flips the script a little bit with that, again, the premise of like, oh, the MC dies and he goes back in time. And it's pretty, just watch it, bro. So yeah, spoiler stuff in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm gonna go in a chronological order. The first couple of episodes, you know, when I saw Ushio, I was thinking that she wasn't gonna be relevant at all. I honestly thought that she was going to be just this character that appears from time to time on the MC's head. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. I didn't think that Ushio was literally gonna be like a character. You know how in the beginning, it's like Shinpei sees like a memory of her? I thought it was gonna be like continually like that. Oh, he's remembering the memories from the other worlds and stuff. I thought she was gonna be that kind of character, but I was really wrong, and I'm really glad that I was really wrong, because when Ushio appeared, the shadow Ushio, first of all, I was extremely confused. I was like, what is going on? Obviously, I was like, she has to be a shadow, right? But then all the things that happen in the festival, and then she's actually a good person and she's not trying to kill my mans. I don't know, bro. Just this anime just completely took me by surprise in that aspect alone, just because I really didn't expect this to go the way that it did. I honestly thought that the whole premise of him just, you know, the MC just going back in time, it was gonna be like super normal. It started getting crazy, dude, when Ushio was like, oh, yeah, like the festival that happened the other day, that shit was crazy, bro. I was like, wait, what? You remember that? Hold on, what? It's like, if you've seen ReZero, right? It's like when Subaru like first meets Echidna and he's like, oh wow, like hold on, you know what's happened? You've seen everything that's happened to me and I can talk about it to you. It's like that, but like instantly. It instantly gives the viewer this sense of like, oh wait, he's not alone. We're not alone. Like it's not freaking Steins Gate or freaking ReZero where the poor MC is freaking having to carry the entire burden himself. Wait, he actually has one person at least, right? But no, it gets crazier. Just the fact that Ushio could like grab someone's arm and give them her memories, that was so cool, bro. And what makes it even cooler is that like Shinpei's friends are such homies. Like they instantly, they don't even question anything. They're like, oh yeah, okay, I got you, man. They're some real freaking friends, dude. Especially like so this guy. He's a homie, bro. He's high-key best boy. Like every single time that Shinpei went to him, he was like, oh yeah, bro, like I got you, man. I'm gonna trust you 100%. Dude, let's just get out of the way how Tetsu, the freaking police guy, is literally Larry Butts from freaking Ace Attorney. When I was seeing, like, I think it was the second or first episode where he dies, I kid you not, in my mind, perfectly, the freaking song that from Ace Attorney that goes That shit was playing in my mind, bro. I couldn't stop it from happening. About the other characters, Hizuru, I liked her character a lot because she was like super mysterious from the get-go. And we have to talk about this real quick. They freaking replayed that What? That one scene, they repeated that like 7 times. I just found it funny how they just, hey, do you remember this scene? Oh, you remember this scene? What? I love how they integrated the dissociative identity disorder with her character, you know, with her having Ryunosuke in her mind, her brother. That was really cool because it's such a unique way of like representing that disorder. I don't know if I've ever seen that in anime ever, like multiple personalities and stuff. It was done like super creatively. Obviously, it wasn't like exactly the disorder, but it was like, you know, it's implemented because, you know, it's an actual disorder that exists in real life. I just loved it when they revealed it. Ryunosuke as well, I love him. Obviously the antagonist, which possibly my favorite character if it's not Shinpei. I loved Ushio as well, but freaking Haine, bro. But okay, I think I got the characters out of the way. Oh, there was like So's sister, the freaking shadows as well, Mio, the freaking, oh, I see you as family. Oh man, poor girl, man. I'm not gonna talk about when she was like, yo, Shinpei, you know what? I like you. And Shinpei was like, yeah, but I love Ushio. Cough, cough. I'm not gonna mention it, but you know what? With all of that out of the way, let's just talk about freaking what happened. It was taking a little bit of time for me to get hooked because rezero and steins gate with the time traveling stuff, I don't know, my standards for that are just so high, but summertime just instantly hooked me. The third loop, I think it was, when Haine was like in the sky and she was glowing red, and then Shinpei was like falling in the sky, and then Haine like looks at him when Shinpei was like a freaking ghost or something. I was like, what the f? Because it's not implied immediately that Haine can loop as well. So it like puts you in the perspective. Like when Shinpei died, she was like, why is this happening? Why are we like going back? Until that scene where Ushio's shadow gets explained and stuff. I would have loved if this was sort of implied in the first episode to give that sense of mystery. But I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. The other thing that I want to talk about is how good surprises slash like the impact that certain moments had, because it was so unexpected. First one that I can think of obviously is when Ushio was like showing Shinpei and So like her memories of her shadow self, and then Haine just comes and grabs my man and she's like, you can't escape now. Yeah, and Shinpei was like, this is part of the memory, right? That was so good. It really just puts you, like how Karikiri says it, it's like you're seeing the Demon King's perspective. It's so weird because I can just see completely different anime where it's like Haine's story. First episode is the asteroid coming down and then on the beach and then the whale. All of that stuff happens and then you just see Haine's perspective from the get-go. I could have been a thing, bro. I would have liked that a lot as well. Let's just talk about the fact that she's voiced by Misaki Kuno, and I don't know, that she's been getting goated for me recently. She's just such a good voice actress and she has such a unique voice. I don't know, I just loved her. I just loved her performance, man. The freaking scene in the gym when they were fighting and stuff, great. Again, the animation would go crazy at times. Her backstory, I loved how freaking like deep it went. Like the origins of the shadows were like a freaking meteorite, and then it like landed, it turned into a whale. Thank you for explaining that, because it would have been like, really? The shadows just randomly appeared. It's a supernatural anime. Don't even think about it, right? But I really like how they put like this quote-unquote realistic scenario of how the shadows came to be. What I was talking about, the moment that I like actually got really hooked, besides the Ushio thing, was the episode where Hizuru was like invading the apartment to kill like the family and stuff, and then she was like, yeah, in like 5 minutes she's gonna text us, and then her body just flies out of the window. That was hilarious, bro. I was like and then she says, it's not the 20-second that you thought it was. That was great, bro. It's not even that. That was great, but afterwards is even greater because you see the shadow. You see Kirikiri and like, I'm saying that right, Kirikiri, right? Karikiri, it's Kirikiri. I think Kirikiri's the love is war open. But when you see Karikiri and like his shadow armor, I don't know, he just freaking kills Hizuru like it's nothing. It was great. I can't get over how good, like when she says, yeah, I can loop too. That was so good because it was like, what? That's crazy, bro. But yeah, again, it's just the surprise, just the impact certain scenes like that have. It's just the whole theme of mystery and just like thriller. You just see these certain moments play out out, and it's great. Again, I wasn't really expecting for the freaking antagonist to be able to loop as well. That's crazy. That's such a unique twist on that time traveling thing. It was always when things didn't go as planned, and then that just the impact that those certain scenes had, impacting the viewer as well. Because like a little bit later on the episodes, I talked about this on my freaking Twitter, when Shinpei just randomly says like, oh, he asks Haine like, could you tell where I was? And then they were like, huh? And he was like, I knew it. You don't know where I am in this certain position. And then he's like, Janet. That was so good, bro. It was those moments as well, because you didn't really see what Shinpei was thinking, what he was planning all the time. Like Ushio said, like, Shinpei, you're a freaking genius. And I was like, what is he talking about? That was epic, bro. I love that. I love that. I think, honestly, in my opinion, the most impacting moments were like definitely in the middle, especially when the second opening started hitting. That second opening, by the way, it hits. It's a banger, bro. It's a freaking banger. Especially portrays the second part of the anime so well, because it's like dun, dun. Please keep that in mind that this is my opinion. Towards the end, it was just like rising and rising and rising and rising, and then it was just getting crazy, and then it reached a certain point where it just stayed like normal. Before I talk about why, let's just talk about my man Shinpei, bro. He's a great character. I like him a lot. In the beginning, like I was saying, I didn't really like him as much. This is honestly just like a little bit of issue of like storytelling, especially like in the beginning, because you really don't know what kind of character Shinpei is. To me, he was like just an MC that just arrived at an island. His character didn't feel like very unique. It just felt like your typical MC, right? Like his design, I like his design a lot, especially now, because obviously like his development and what happens afterwards. But in the beginning, I really would have liked if they put just like a minute or a minute and a half his room in Tokyo, and like, you know, just a lot of books on the bookshelf. And then they showed like Hizuru's book and like really emphasized it, and it would have been cool foreshadowing. I'm pretty sure they did that with like his phone or something, but it's kind of different because the room, it's like he likes reading, and if he's very organized, if you see like a calendar or something, or like a to-do list, you can tell that he's a really organized character, which you can tell because Shinpei literally points out by the freaking time, by the dot, the events that happen. And you don't learn that up until he does that. Things like that would have been cool because you would have like learned more about his character. There's subtle changes, but they would have been great because you can tell like, oh, he's this kind of character, and you have that in the back of your mind. You just create like an instant connection with him. You know, when he dies in the beginning, I just felt like, okay, typical freaking MC dies and then he goes back in time. It felt exactly like that. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. Like the first episode really didn't do it for me, honestly. Like the shadow thing was really cool and stuff, but I'm specifically talking about Shinpei as a protagonist. But that ends when Shinpei just starts like doing stuff, like when he starts looping several times. His character development is very subtle, but you can tell. His character development is the most evident on like the final episode, you know, when like his memories get erased and everything just, you know, like the shadows never existed. The characters are like very drastically different. You see Shinpei like from the beginning, he talked more like with a high-pitched voice, but then he like started getting more serious and more serious, as like maybe he was just getting tired, who knows. Just started getting more confident as well. It's just a very subtly he started getting more confident and more confident, because in the beginning he was like, oh my god, look, it's Shadow Mio exposed 2020. But something that I loved about his character is that he never like lost hope per se. He was always like fighting. He always had this fighting spirit. He's a good protagonist. I really liked him a lot. I liked his character a lot. I like, I don't know, his hairstyle, bro. There's just something that hits about that. Link Click's main character has the exact freaking hairstyle. I don't know why, but that hairstyle, it do be hitting, bro. Let's just talk about pseudo loops, like how other characters could loop as well. Everyone is like joined instead of, oh, it's just Shinpei fighting them and trying to convince everyone else that he's not crazy and all that stupid stuff. It's great. And I loved how they didn't show like a freaking scene of every single time that the characters would get the memories. Once the loop happened again, like Ushio would just be like, take my hand, here are the memories, and it was just, okay, let's just keep going. It doesn't waste time. It's annoying as hell to see unnecessary freaking like flashbacks, but you do not appreciate it until it's like mentioned. So I really wanted to mention that, and just it's like a race because you know Haine can like loop as well, and he is with Karikiri. A team versus team instead of like person versus plot, if that makes any sense. That was what really hooked me on Summertime Rendering. Segue, the ending. The ending felt a little bit weird to me compared to the moments where I was literally just fanboying about, like when Shinpei just like Jana and like I can loop too. Compared to those moments, in the end, it was like the feeling wasn't the same. And also I absolutely loved how they implemented like the air raids because of Haine's memories. That was so clever. You know, Haine's from like 300 years ago and all that stuff. Couple of things. Now I'm gonna be talking about the things that I would have liked a little bit more besides the whole Shinpei thing, right? I'm gonna talk about the thing that bothered me the most, which is the time traveling aspect of the anime, especially towards the end. I was kind of bothered that, you know, they went 300 years back and they like removed the shadows from ever existing, right? Yes, in the end, there were some changes. For example, Karikiri was like a different person. He was older. Ryunosuke was alive. But we're talking about 300 years, dude. I would expect something super drastic to change, especially if Shinpei's parents are alive. Like, if Shinpei's parents are alive, that means that he never got taken in by Alan, which means he never got to be Mio or Ushio's stepbrother. And that would change a lot of things, don't you think? At the same time, I understand why it wasn't like explored, because if they started doing like, oh, because the shadows disappeared, frickin' Shinpei like went to Tokyo instantly and he never got as close to Ushio or Mio or things like that, like the author didn't do that because it would like drag things way too long and like he just wanted to end the manga. Like, I get it, but it still kind of bothers me because again, the whole time traveling thing is a very, very delicate theme to touch on, and if it's not done perfectly, it just sits with me in a wrong way. All thanks to steins, because steins just did it perfectly. But again, this is my opinion. I would have loved if they would have given the parallel universe where Shinpei got his eyes a little bit more emphasis. They showed like a couple of screenshots, you know what I mean? And then everything just happening the way it does, and then you get to the first scene of the anime. That would have been great. Personally, I would have liked at least like a couple of like fast scenes, like seconds. It's just seconds of like that parallel universe, which is again subjective. And the first episodes could have been done a little bit better, like more like engaging, because you're doing the trope of, oh, like MC dies and he goes back in time. I would have been instantly hooked. I would have been watching it weekly if it was like implied that the entire like Haine, even though you didn't know that she existed, like just imagine in the end of the first episode, right? Shinpei wakes up after the loop. He's like in the freaking, like he gets off the ferry, right? Close up to his eyes. And then he looks to the right. Instantly right after, it's Haine's eyes. She looks to the left. That would have been crazy. But you want to know what was actually in the end? What subtly implies like there's an antagonist. The antagonist knows what happened. The antagonist knows that time changed. Given that sense of like mystery, it would have intrigued me so much more. A lot of people drop anime on like the first or second episode, and it wasn't implied that there was like a freaking team versus team thing, because in my opinion that was like the most unique thing of Summertime Rendering, that like the antagonist had the ability to loop as well. But yes, I have been talking way too much, but again, in my opinion, the best part of Summertime Rendering is by far the mystery thriller aspect of the anime. And again, the looping thing, Haine is a great character, bro. But all in all, that was like what I thought about the anime, what I think could have done a little bit better. There's things that I can't think of right now, but what I was thinking, like I got it out of the way. But yeah, thank you for watching this freaking review. So yeah, like the video and you enjoyed it, and comment what you think about the anime, all that good stuff. So yeah, please subscribe.
卵が先か鶏が先か
I came first, bitch.